Okay, this is the front porch. We got weep holes up here, and I see that somebody has been here already. We've got the blue tape out. That's a good thing. I put a couple of my own pieces here. Coming along, this is the front porch portico, if you will. And what we've got here, we've got 3 columns. And these marks in the columns, these are called checking. Okay, and that is typical for cedar. And I'm told that no matter the size of the check, it really has little or no bearing on the structural integrity of that beam. It comes down to a point of when a person picks it up at the lumber yard, whether they accept it or not. It's mostly an aesthetic issue. So when I come in, I've got a house key. If the house key will fit all the way in like that, I think it's worth bringing up, mentioning on the report. So I will. One time I saw a builder that actually addressed it. Then they just came in and resealed it. And then I don't know how that'll last or endure, but I noted it and he addressed it, and there we go. Where do termites live? Well, they live in the ground. Oh. What do they eat? Dead wood. Oh. What's wood mulch? Dead wood on the ground next to your house. It's called a clue. And then you got bushes next to your house too. Got all these things next to your house. So these bushes aren't going to get any smaller. Your bushes shouldn't be touching the house. So, just something we need to make note of. If I was doing a wood destroying insect report, and I'm not, I would say that this wood mulch next to the house is conducive to wood destroying insects. I'd have to call it a conducive condition on the report. So, something to think about. You call me, and you don't have to worry for about 7 years. But, you call me after 6 years, because it doesn't have to be 7. And you say, hey, bud, I got termites in my wall. I'm going to go, next to the front porch where all the bushes were touching it and the wood mulch was there. And yeah, I thought so. Speaking of termites, this is a post-tension slab foundation, very strong. And around the corners, we have what's known as a parge coat. And parge coat, it could be covering up repairs, but mostly it's an aesthetic issue. But it's a cement slurry that goes around the concrete slab. Okay, cement and brick and concrete all expand and contract to the environmental conditions at different rates. And so when you have the parge coat around here, if we were doing a wood destroying insect report, I'd have to call it a conducive condition, because there's gaps in between the parge coat and the foundation. They if they're not there, they will be. They develop because they move at different rates. And so the Texas Structural Pest Control Board considers that a conducive condition for termites, because termites are blind and they've evolved to go places where people can't see, so they can be on an equal footing, I guess. And so that's a conducive condition in regards to thinking ahead, forward thinking towards termites. And I'm not telling you to take all that off. I'm not telling you to take that off at all. And it's like a cake frosting. Just because the cake frosting is cracked doesn't mean that the cake is cracked. And just because the parge coat is not cracked does not mean that your foundation is not cracked. Then I come over here. We've got exposed lawn sprinkler lines right here. I got another place, and we'll talk about that later. Rain gutters are below the grade. Now we have trees that are too close to the structure. Right now these are cute little kittens, so these will not be a deficiency. Okay, they're cute little kittens, but the kittens grow up to be nasty old tomcats. And these roots can rob because we are in North Texas, we are on expansive clay soil. We do need a consistent amount of moisture around our foundation perimeter for it to operate properly. And trees like this can rob the needed moisture from your foundation. Also, trees like this, their roots can grow and move and heave and push your foundation. And trees like this can also damage your roof and your trim right there when they grow up. So they'll be on the report, but they won't be as a deficiency. and you might not be able to do anything about it. And then I've heard one inspector I admire, totally admire, and but he's kind of got a motto. It says, no solution, no problem. So what I'm saying is, if you look around, all these houses have trees in front of them. And, you know, it would be a safe bet to say that that's a homeowners association thing, and that you might not have any control over whether you have or do not have trees. So if you can't take the tree out, I mean, I can make you aware of it. Rain gutters below grade, our gas meters over here. Of course, that's a different section. I'll go ahead and address that. Okay, we got our main shutoff valve. That's also our service valve. Sometimes they have a service valve over here and the shutoff valve over there. Shutoff valve over here, service valve. Anyway, this valve does double duty. That's allowed. So, you know, I don't know what to tell you about that. But this is a gas meter, and it is bonded. It is electrically bonded. All good stuff. Good stuff. We got gates on both sides of the property, which I appreciate. And then coming on along over here, and now's a good time to talk about it. Good as time as any to talk about it. But we got double pane vinyl frame windows. These are called weeps. They always booger up. They're not. They're de minimis. They're small items. You can get a sack of them for like $12. A sack of 50 of them. Some manufacturers don't even include them because they do. You know, such a small detail does become problematic, and the benefit is minimal. So coming on along, we got continuous soffit vents over here, and then that is our fresh air induction fan screen. That's a good thing to have. Going on along, if a retaining wall is farther away from a structure than twice its height, then it has no immediate effect on the foundation. It could fall down, you could take it out, and the house would not have an immediate effect on the house. It's nice that it's there because the grade would be too steep otherwise, but it's beyond the scope of this inspection. But there it is, and if it's less than 4 feet high, maybe 5, but anyway, if it's less than 4 feet high, it was never required to have a building permit, so you don't know that. Unless it was for the whole neighborhood, and they when they developed all the lots, maybe you got like a massive overall permit that it was installed. But for that particular wall permit, you could get one, I guess, but you know, chances are but it wasn't permitted. So we don't know. We don't know what kind of stabilization technique was used behind there with this geogrid. We don't know, you know, if the aggregate was laid in right. We don't know how the area was prepped for that wall. And it's beyond the scope of this inspection. We just don't know. But I don't mind saying what I don't know. Most of what I say is what I don't know. Okay. Coming on along over here, the structure faces north, so this is the southwest corner of the property. And we're right in here. I don't know if the camera's picking this up, but if you were standing here with me, you can kind of see how little faults are forming around here, and so we got some erosion that's starting to develop here, and so we need to keep an eye on that. The builder needs to come in maybe and refill this and put some more sod over there or something. Okay. And I can see through the fence that, you know, the retaining wall continues around, and I can also see that it's not any higher. I don't know what it would be like down there, but it's no higher than 4 feet. Coming on along, nice and dark roof, okay. And then coming along over here. Now you see how the roof slope comes down here, and the roof slope comes down over here, and the roof slope goes down here. So you got water coming from 3 different ways. And then the rain gutter discharges water directly onto the roof covering right there. Okay. And see how all this comes and accumulates at this point? It's called a dead valley. And what that means is that water doesn't drain off of that area as fast as it normally would. You know, the water's like kind of pushed up to this ridge right here, and it goes next to the wall over there. And all roofs leak, but you don't have to have a leak in a dead valley. but that area by design, of course, it looks good. It looks attractive. That's why I wanted the houses, because it looked good like that. But being like that and being as attractive as it is, that area is statistically more prone for a leak to develop. But it probably won't happen there. It'll happen. It'll happen. Don't worry. Now these rain gutters, okay, they're butt ends when they terminate next to the structure. And I could have said this at the front porch, front portico. I could have said it at the front. But when they terminate at the structure like that, there's supposed to be a 1-inch gap. And they don't have one. So being that close, it's going to rust. It's more prone to rusting, more prone to leaking, more prone to allowing water to drain down the side of the structure like that. Coming on along in here, we have a gas port on our patio, and so I would probably put a grill here. I would, big old smoker or what, but this is a covered patio. And so you might want to check with the grill manufacturer, make sure they're okay. I mean, again, it's a high roof, but also you have a grill inside of here. It's going to capture more of the smoke. It's going to capture odors, smells, and so that might be problematic, because we have a beautiful collapsing sliding glass door right here. Moving on along, because we're movers, and when you get on the sliding glass door, we get over here, our threshold starts coming up from the brickwork a little bit, and our threshold is separating. Well, not our threshold, actually. We put some sealant in here, and this goes for all sealant. The sealant gets dry. It dries out after time, and when it does that, it shrinks, and then it pulls away from the areas that it was trying to seal. And so that's actually happening right here. They could have applied a little more, but we see here we've got some gaps in our sealant, and every year or so you need to go around the house. You need to check out all your sealant. This one needs to be. This is a new construction. You can see the cabinet guy in there. See, hello, Mr. Cabinet Guy. Oh, he's got earphones on. He can't hear me. Okay, so moving on along, because we're movers. We're mobbing and a-grobbing. All right. Bear with me. At this corner, this would be the southeast corner of the garage. And so these aren't walls like the interior walls, but they are walls. This was framed out. Okay, this is still important for a couple of different reasons. Okay, water should not be that close to the mud sill plate. There's a wooden, around the perimeter, we have sill plates that go all the way around, called a mud sill plate. Some people call them a soul plate, because you're a soul man, not that kind of soul, the S-O-L-E plate. And but anyway, that's also conducive to wood-destroying insects, termites, because they live in the ground. They eat dead wood, which is what your mud sill plate is. Okay, so we got a kind of a problem here, and you don't want the termites coming in, of course. Moving on along, but in too close, rain gutter discharging directly onto the roof cover. Alright, I'm looking, because I'm a looker. I'll be looking. Coming along over here, our condensing units, our electrical. Okay, the gas meter was on the west side. This is the east side. This is where our condensing units are. That's where our electrical is. Okay, we've got a whole different, again, we've got a whole different video for those guys. We've got a whole different video for the electrical. That's our water heater thimbles. This is our kitchen vent hood. Okay, rain gutter on that. And then right here you can kind of see, well, I can see it, but the camera's angle is a little weird. But we've got these little, they're called soffit-less air vents, because we don't have much in the way of soffits. And so we got soffit-less air vents up here on the roof covering, on the bottom third of the roof covering. So if you look at those things, you can see them better over here. Well, check it out. You see those guys? That guy right there, and that guy right there. These are soffit-less air vents. And because we don't have soffits. We don't have soffits by design. I gotta tell you that I really appreciate soffits. They overhang, they protect things. Okay, so all your fascia board and stuff is gonna, over time, it will, suffer a little bit. Coming over here, these are the overflow drains for our water heaters. Alright, they're supposed to be between 6 inches and the ground. Used to be 6 to 3, but 6 inches and the ground. Those are about 6 inches, no big deal. I'm not seeing any, if these are high efficiency, and judging by the thimbles, the exhaust flues, these are high efficiency tankless water heaters, and we should have a discharge for the condensate that these things create. And so coming over here, are they sealed? Yeah, they're sealed. Okay, we'll go with that. We'll have a water heater video. Hang on, we got more to come. Okay, I left you open because I got to test you. I'll do that when I do the electrical one. I left you open so I'd remember to test you. The whole video. Wood mulch again. So I don't have a lot of sealant gaps and stuff. Tree too close. Wood mulch too close, right? Big black birds. Yeah, babies. House is built on their home. This is where we started.